Hey guys, it's Tim from Hobgoblin's Hideaway, bringing you a brand new video today of some review titles that comics we've been reading over the last few months or even over a couple of years. Thought they might be of interest to some of you. We'll be doing a few of these review videos over the next few weeks, highlighting some of the great books that we read, some of the books that didn't quite live up to standards, and hopefully you like them. Okay guys, before we get into the books, what I want to do is firstly thank you all for being part of the group, the Facebook group, Hobgoblin's Hideaway, as well as the YouTube channel that we've just recently launched. We did hit the milestone last night, which was a great achievement for 450 members. The great news is we're already heading towards 500 for yet another milestone giveaway. But for now, obviously you know what you've got to do guys, you've got to opt in with I'm in to the Facebook group and the Facebook page. Obviously from that point, we'll then draw you in. Hopefully it's still live by the time you see this recording. If not, don't worry, like I said, the 500 milestone is coming up pretty soon. Plenty of time for you guys to be involved. So the current milestone, 450. What we're giving up for grabs this time, guys, is a couple of complete sets. You can either choose from DC Marvel All Access and Unlimited Access, both 1 to 4 complete sets. That's a really good pickup. Alternatively, if that's not your kind of thing, we've also got Wolverine volume number 5, I believe, which is issues 1 to 12. A couple of great little giveaways, guys, for pretty much doing not much. You're in there, you're supporting, it's very appreciated. So we like to give some away to you guys. Massive news coming out as well. Like I said, we're heading very quickly towards the 500 milestone. What we're going to do as soon as we hit this figure, we're going to give away a few of the Nakayama covers that are kind of heating up at the moment. Everybody's talking about them. We've got a Strange Academy number 6, the trade variant. We've got the Gwenom versus Carnage issue number 1, which is a Virgin cover, and we've actually just had our copying of the Gwenom versus Carnage number 1, the secret cover. Again, all same artist, beautiful looking covers, guys. So you know, those will be winging away to someone as well. As soon as we hit the 500 mark, we'll do another opt-in giveaway, but plenty for you guys to get involved in. Okay guys, so first up, one of the comics that I started reading early last year, before all the world went all crazy, is a comic book called Resistance. Many of you may well have already read this and picked it up. It was by AWA, which is Artists, Writers and Artisans. They're a new publishing company that started up last year, very much focused on creator owned and creator published. So a lot of the guys that are getting involved now releasing their own books via the AWA stable, but there's some fantastic books. One of my favourite publishers out at the moment. Resistance was a 6-episode comic book, very apt for the time it came out. It was by J. Michael Straczynski, Mike Deodato Jr. as well, with the artwork, which was fantastic. Very much based around a kind of global disaster stroke pandemic, which wiped out millions on the planet. So for the time it kind of got released, it was so current, not quite in the same vein of what was going on, but it was very current. From the kind of ashes, so to speak, the plague, the disaster, the pandemic suddenly went away, leaving many people with newly found superpowers. And then obviously it travels across their journey, how they're tracked down by the government, how the government will try and silence them, control these new kind of superheroes. You can tie it into, you know, TV programs like The Boys, which I've only just started watching myself recently. There's so many great tie-ins to this, but there's also so many angles. You've got so many potential characters that can pop up within the story, but I've really enjoyed it. Once it hit the 6 issues, wasn't too sure what was going to happen with this one, but they've since released a one-shot, I should say, of Reborns, which was kind of the title that they gave to a lot of these superheroes. The pandemic's gone, they've been reborn, so to speak, with this superpower. So it tells their story all the way through. We're currently getting ready for Uprising, which is, as far as I know, it's a new short series to follow on the back of the Resistance. Character-wise, it's great. The story progresses really well. definitely a series that I would recommend that you should be picking up. Like I said, issues 1 to 6 have already been out on the shelves. I believe there's a trade that you can pick up as well. So I'd highly recommend grabbing this book, guys, and going through it, introducing yourself to AWA. Okay, guys, so one of the hot books, I hate that term. One of the hot books that's out at the moment is We Live by Aftershock Publishing. It's issues 1 to 5. 5 I haven't had yet, it's on its way to me, so I don't actually know how this story is going to end. Really looking forward to it though. Issues 1 to 4 have been pretty much on the whole a really great read. It's by the Miranda brothers, artwork and story. Starts off with a story very much where society has gone to pot. There's been a lot of natural disasters, there's been a lot of civil wars. Everything has done it is what it can to pretty much wipe out humanity. Before an alien message is received, promising to save 5,000 children on the planet from different locations. All the children have got to do is put on a bracelet, armband that will be sent through, and then that child will be allowed to be taken to who knows where. That's not actually been disclosed. Maybe it's found out in issue 5, maybe it then spins off into another series. I don't quite know yet, but the story itself focuses very much around two main characters, Hototo, fantastic little guy, and his sister Taylor. Now, throughout the course of the first 4 books, you see their journey across different lands, you see them meeting up with other survivors as they make their journey towards the pickup point. One of the things that struck me about this comic is the artwork, and we'll show you some of the artwork as well as we go through. The artwork was quite cartoony, which sounds a bit strange for a comic book, but you can have your realistic artwork. This one is really soft in its nature, but I think that then hits home because some of the actual content within the book is quite brutal, it is quite sudden, and I think the artwork helps to then really push that forward and make it stand out and pop a lot more. There's been some fantastic covers on this book so far, thoroughly enjoying it. The only downside I've got to the issue, the issues that I've already read, issue 3, there seems to be some continuity issues for me. Starts off in a completely different location, the children have ended up somewhere. I won't go into too much because the one thing I don't want to do on these videos, guys, is put any spoilers in place. I'll only cover the basic story. Issue 3 starts really strangely for myself. You know, give me a comment, guys, maybe you guys know, maybe I missed something. I'm not a massive reader, I'm trying to get into it a lot more. I meet a lot of you guys at the shows, you're always asking me what comics would I recommend as a read. And I've never been able to answer that question, so I'm trying to dig a lot deeper into comic book reading, but tend to keep away from the superhero type comics. This one, it's a fantastic pickup. For me, it's perfect. It's perfectly set up for a TV show or a film. So, you know, speculation wise, I think this is what kicked it off when issue 1 dropped out. A lot of people were chasing issue 1. It's now come back down a little bit. They've done a second print as well. Like I said, the artwork is beautiful. Some great covers across the book, and generally a wholehearted recommendation as a read for that one, guys. Okay, guys, so next up we've got Vampire State Building. It was a 2019 release, so it's been out for quite a while now. Many of you may have already picked this one up and gone through it. For me, I was really excited to pick this one up. You've got Charlie Adlard, obviously from Walking Dead, had contributed with this. You've got Renault and Ange, obviously part of the creative team as well. It was a 1 to 4 issue. Set, obviously, in the Empire State Building, as you would expect. But this one really focused around the kind of life, or I should say the events, of a guy called Terry Fisher, who was a soldier. He was just about to be deployed for active duty when his friends decided to give him a send-off party at the Empire State Building before everything completely, you know, got messed up. Massive vampire attack on the Empire State Building, which is quite a, obviously vampires aren't necessarily real, but it's quite a scary thought to think of that kind of confined space, a large space albeit, but very confined in regards to these vampires. You know, they couldn't get out of the building, or that was the plan anyway, to stop them from getting out into the building and then getting out into New York, which obviously would have been even worse. So the police get involved. They're trying to keep contain the the outbreak and the attack, so to speak, within the building. Once they finally know what it is, you've got Terry and his friends trying to survive, but also trying to protect the city from inside the building. So promises to be a really good story. This one, however, I've got to say it left me a little bit flat. You know, issues 1 to 3 were great. Issue 4, it kind of built the story up and then literally just dropped it. It finished far too quickly. I could have quite easily had multiple more issues of this comic book. I was enjoying it, but when you have a sudden ending, like you often do with these very short stories, you'll tend to see that I don't read the issues 1 to 20, 25, up to 40, for example. I try and keep them short. My attention span for reading is very short anyway, so I'm trying to get into a lot more comic books, as I've said. But 4 issues, I wanted more by the end of it, guys. It's a great book until the end. I'm not going to spoil what happens, not going to go into it, just ends far too short for me. Would I recommend it? Probably not. I felt a bit disappointed towards the end. There's some great artwork. Charlie Adlard cover as part of issue 2, one of my favourite covers. There are some beautiful covers out there, but in regards to reading, I felt I invested a little bit of time, and by the end of it, it wasn't worth it. So not one I'd wholly recommend, guys. But again, I'll leave it down to you. You may well have completely different opinions. Again, be interested to know what they are, guys. Okay, guys, so my final book for today, another AWA title, is Erratic or Erratic. Beautiful little book, issues 1 to 5. Still waiting for this one to complete. I can't put it down though. It's one of my favourite books at the moment. For someone that's not really into his superhero title, I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. Always have been. You know, love comic book superheroes. However, I don't really enjoy reading those titles. I struggle to get into them. I prefer the horror titles. I prefer the real life titles. So for me to pick up a superhero book, although it's not AWA, they do no wrong in my eyes at the moment. Really enjoying this title. Care Andrews has done the artwork and the writing. Beautiful artwork. Suits the storytelling perfectly. Again, in my mind, it's not overly serious in its style. We'll show you some of the pages again. The artwork is beautiful, and I think it really ties into how the story presents. Revolves around a young kid, 15-year-old boy, Oliver Leaf, and his movement into a new town, a new school with his mom and his older brother. His older brother, typical American high school jock, fits in perfectly on day one. Athletic, you know, chased at by all the girls kind of thing. He fits in perfectly. Oliver struggles, completely different type of personality, kind of the geeky kid, so to speak. So they separate them really well. But it purely comes down to how he deals with his move into a new town, a new school, but also the fact this kid has superpowers on a grand scale. And it's that constant battle, unable to control his powers and how they come out. Fantastic little read though. It's kind of like, for me, it feels like a modern day Spider-Man. Obviously, you know, we still see Spider-Man titles all the time, but it's got that type of feel to it. It's a young lad struggling with daily life, which is purely what Spider-Man was originally about. It wasn't just about all these crazy supervillains. It was about how this kid deals with daily life, which was very unique at the time. For me, Erratic kind of follows that same pattern. One of the things we also find, and it's great because obviously it's AWA, where we talked about Resistance a little bit earlier and the Reborns, we actually find out that obviously Oliver himself is a Reborn, so they're tying in their worlds really nicely at the moment. Like I said, we'll cover a lot of their books in these videos, but the fact of we've got another Reborn, another complete series. At the moment, we don't see the connection between the two, but obviously we know that Oliver's a Reborn. We know that it's his complete journey and trying to juggle things, but fantastic read, guys. This one is one of my favourite books to pick up. Can't wait to see how it ends. Hopefully you guys have already picked it up. If you haven't, definitely 100% my favourite book of this video, guys. So, you know, without a doubt, go and pick that one up if you haven't already read it. Make sure you pick up as many AWA books as possible. They had a lot of interest recently One of the books we'll cover on the video is Year Zero. Was picking up a lot of attention, and people started talking about it. Is it going to be a hot book? Is it going to be a film? Is it going to be a TV show? The hype has died off slightly on that, which I actually like the fact it's died off, because now we're getting down to the basics of them, AWA as a publisher, and the actual great content that they're putting out for us all. So go and get that book, guys, without fail. That's pretty much it for me for today. We'll try and do a few of these videos. Please let us know what you think of them. If there's something missing in them, let us know. I'm trying not to go into the books in detail. I know there's a lot of reviews on books out there that you can pretty much find out the entire story, all the spoilers. I'm not into that, guys. These are just books that, from my own personal collection, I would like to think that other people out there are reading them. If you haven't picked them up yet, if you haven't even come across them, I would wholly recommend that you go and do that. For now, like I said, I appreciate all your support, guys. Keep looking out for all the giveaways. We'll do loads more sale posts. We've got loads more stuff coming back from CBCS. There's obviously a lot of talk about the shows starting to reopen again now as well. Portsmouth, they're looking at what dates they can get on for the Portsmouth Comic Con. We're looking at the Wales Comic Con, maybe the London Film and Comic Con. No idea, guys. It'll be great to see some of you there if we do get to them, as long as it's safe. That's the main important thing for us. But we'll see how it all pans out. We'll see how the year pans out. But hopefully we'll be seeing you all shortly anyway in person, which will be a great change, you know, after the last 12 months. But for now, thank you all for your support, guys. Hopefully I'll give you a quick chat in the group as well. And let's discuss any of these books. Take care, guys.